Hi, and thanks for joining me. It's Patty from pspapercrafts. It's another Friday fun fold, and today we are making a diamond pop-up fun fold card. Isn't this pretty? When it sits, this is what it's going to look like because it really kind of pops up here. But I think it's so pretty. It's happiest birthday to you, and on the back I have a lovely day. You don't have to do a back if you want to kind of sneak something in here. It would have to be behind the diamonds, so you don't want anything hanging out over here. I've seen some people put a little sentiment right here, and they made sure it didn't show through, but I think this is fine. And I think having it sit up is really beautiful. So this paper, I think it's my new favorite paper. This is one of the new online exclusives that comes out. You could start purchasing it May 6th. Our new catalog comes out, and then there's a whole bunch of new online exclusives that you won't see in the catalog. You'll only see them online. So we've been coming out with online exclusives pretty regularly now. I think it's every quarter or every 2 months. I'll have to go check. But this paper is just speaks to me. It's floral impressions. There's a whole suite that goes with it. And I just love the patterns. I love everything. This is definitely my kind of paper. I love the blue in there. And then this is one of our new colors, Strawberry Slush. So, of course, with our new catalog, we have new in colors. And this might be Timid Tiger, which is another new color. Aren't they pretty? Just love them. Love the colors. Love how kind of loose and... So this is the one I used for here, and then the back of it is what I used for the card. I would suggest with this card that you make it with paper that's not directional. We're going to use this for the next card. See, this is kind of directional. Unless you have a die to cut the squares, it just might be hard to cut the squares. You don't want them going sideways or like this, right? So if you had the diagonal, it would go like this. So if you have a die, and I did try to use the square dies, the measurements didn't work out so great. So if you did have a square die and you wanted to try to do it, you can, die cut it like this so that it's, facing the right way. But the easiest thing to do is just get a paper that does not have direction. So we're going to use this paper, and then I use that paper. So I thought they were good. And we usually have papers that are non-directional in our DSP packs. So let's get started. I am using another white card base. So this is 5.5 by 8.5. So it's a half a card, half a piece of cardstock. I have I'm calling it the inside layer, but it's really the outside, the back layer. So that's 4 by 5.25. I have 3 pieces of designer series paper, and you don't have to write all this down. Below there's a project sheet, and it'll have all the measurements with pictures and instructions. So if you don't want to measure this or write it down, just, print out or just look online with the project sheet. So I have this one, and then I have 2 more. So this is 4 by 5.25, and these are both 1 7/8 by 5.25. And then I have this. Oh, this is I was like, what is this piece for? This is the mechanism. So this is this square piece that is going to hold this to make it pop up. Okay, and this one is 3 by 2.5, and then we're going to score it every 3/4. So 3/4, 1.5, 2.25. But we'll do the scoring in a few minutes. And then I have some mats. I thought I would pick up the blue in here. I was back and forth whether I wanted the strawberry slush, and I think I have this the wrong size. The strawberry slush or the misty moonlight, and I went with the misty moonlight. I'm gonna have to cut another one of those, and we'll do that in a second. So these two, you have 2 mats for the front squares, these front, and these are 2 by 2. Okay, I cut all of the mats the same size as the paper. So I will go and cut these again. So the mat should be 2 by 2, and then the DSP should be 1 7/8. No, 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So it just goes down a quarter, and I have to see which one this is. So this is the 2. So I have to cut these down. That's what I have to do. So let's do that, and then I'll go over the measurements again. So the big square for the inside or diamond, the big one should be 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So let's make sure I have that one right. I think I just cut everything the same size. So this is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So the piece that's going to sit on it, this one, the designer series paper, this should be 2 by 2. So it fits nicely. So we're going to do 2. And I want to get as much as the blue I can in there. So let's make sure this is right. So you're going to do one of these. The mat is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And then the designer series paper is 2 by 2. Then you want 2 of these. And these are 2 by 2. So I have these right. But then the piece that goes on it is, make sure I have 1 3/4, 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Okay. So that'll go like that. So let's see, do I have another one under here? Here they are. So this is 2 by 2, and then this one we're going to do 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So, sorry about that. I thought I had them all measured correctly. 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Okay, let's make sure these all fit nicely. Okay, so those are good to go. Let's put this away for a minute. We're going to take it right back out though. So those are all the pieces. And again, they'll be in a project sheet, and I'll have them right in the project sheet. So let's do some scoring, and then we'll do our adhering. So on this one, we're going to make a Z fold. So we're going to do the 8 1/2 across the top, and we're going to score it at 2 1/8. And this is your typical Z fold card. It's half of the front, and then, so when you score it at 4 1/4, you're going to cut that in half, and that's 2 1/8. And let's put that aside. And then this one, we're going to put the 3" on the side, and then we're going to score at 3/4, at 1 1/2, 1 1/2. Let's get that right. And then 2 1/4. So that'll make a nice even box where everything is 3/4 of an inch. Okay, I just stopped for a minute. My dog is just snoring up a storm. And I don't know if you're hearing him, but it's really disturbing me. So anyway, let's do our scoring. And we want to really score these well. So we're going to score and then score again, and I'm going to fold them back as well. I don't always score both, both sides, but I think when you have a fun fold, it's important to make sure everything lies as flat as possible, because sometimes they're kind of bulky. Okay, so now we're going to fold this in half and then fold it back. So that's your Z fold. Okay, pretty standard. And then this one we're going to fold in and fold in again, and one more time, and then I'm going to fold them back the other way, because I really want this mechanism to fold nicely inside the card. Okay, so then this is the way we're going to adhere it to the card. Okay, if it's over a little bit, I would say to like trim it down so that it lies flat. So just take a hair off of it. And I mean really a hair. You just want it to not overlap here, okay? And let's put this away. I think we're done with that. So let's add our layers to the card. And I love this. This is just so pretty to me. I hate to cover it up, but you know, you got to cover it up. And we're just going to adhere it. I'm using Seal Plus. That's my adhesive of choice lately. I was always a liquid glue person, but I kind of changed recently. And this is a Pool Party color, and I was going to do Pool Party, and I did cut the pieces. I'll show you the difference between that and the blue, and I think the Pool Party would have kind of got washed away in this. So I wanted something with a little bit more contrast. Whoa. Okay. And try to line this up. You're going to just adhere it between your folds, and you want it to go along nicely with the top and the bottom. Whoa, that's kind of funny. That's usually how it works with the liquid glue. All right, and we'll put a little bit more here. I'll just put a little bit down this way. Make sure it's nice and sticky here. So then we have this. Okay, so here's the base of our card. And then what we want to do is put this down, and we're going to put a strong adhesive here and here. I can use the Seal Plus, but I think I'm going to go with tear and tape. And what we're going to do, so we're going to put adhesive here and here, and then we're going to line up where this score line is and this score line. And we're going to adhere it down. And we want it to be kind of even top to bottom. A little corner up there. So let's get our tear and tape. I call it tear and cut because I always cut it. I don't like to tear it. I have a hard time with tearing it. I watch people on videos and it just like boom, it tears for them, and it doesn't work that easily for me. But whatever works good for you. So we're just going to do each of the ends. Nothing in the middle on these folds. And then we'll do this end here. And you want to rub this down good so that you could take off the release backing, and that gives it like a sticky on both sides. And this is very strong. So we use this a lot for fun folds, or especially for boxes. If you're going to make boxes, this is a good adhesive for that. So you want to rub it, and then you could take your pick tool, take your pick tool, and pull off the backing, and now you've got the sticky showing. And if it hangs over a little bit, just fold it back on itself. No big deal. It gives it some extra stickiness, I guess. Okay, and then we're going to fold it down, and it will be sticky on your fingers. And we want to line it up so that we want to kind of look top to bottom, and then we want to be on this line here, this score line. Okay, and there you go. That's the base. And what I did was, I feel like it's pretty bulky, and I know we did a lot of burnishing, but just do it again and get it going. Okay, so then this is what I was talking about. We're going to put these here. Before I adhere them, I just want to show you the difference, and you tell me what you think. Well, I'm not live, so you can leave me a comment. So that would be that, so it's kind of a contrast. Or I have the pool party, because I thought I would pick up the light blue flowers in here, but I thought it might just be a little bit washed out. I mean, that looks good too, but I like the dark, so I'm going to go with the dark. But play around with it. See, you know, if you have scraps of paper, it's pretty easy to try different ideas. And so we're going to just adhere our squares together, or diamonds, whatever you want to call them. They'll end up being diamonds. Just like this. Come on. Okay, and then we'll do the same here. So I may make another card with those squares, or use them for scraps or die cutting, something like that. We'll see. But I do like a dark contrast when I have light colored paper. All right, isn't that so pretty? I love this paper. Okay, so now we have our mechanism in. We're going to put our diamonds in the front, and one will overlap the other, and I think that's okay. So I'm going to put this one down first, and you only want to put adhesive over here, right? Because it's going to hang off the card. You don't want anything sticking here. So you want to go on this side of the points. And this might be better with liquid glue, to be honest, to get the area. All right. I might be overdoing it. And we want to line up the bottom point and then this point right along the edge there. And then we'll do the same thing here. And you can see, you know, do you want it this way? Do you want it this way? I mean, I kind of am looking at the blue. Maybe we'll do it that way. Okay, and again, it's going to sit right at the top where that white is and go right down, overlapping this. And we are going to put a sentiment here, so if it's not perfectly lined up, that's okay. Now this one is going to sit on here. It's only got a little bit of space. I do want a blue showing, so I'm going to have it go in this way or this way, maybe like this. So we're just going to put glue right on the tip here. Get it nice and sticky. And again, if this goes over, just fold it back on itself. Okay, and then we want to kind of put it in here. I'm not going to press it down. I want to make sure it looks good out here. And now press it down. There you go. Beautiful. Right? And as I said, when it sits, it looks like that. Isn't that pretty? So now let's get a sentiment. Now the sentiment I'm using for both cards. So for this one, this is retiring. This is $12 until they're no longer available. So it was marked down. It's on the retirement list. And it had the Happy Mother's Day, have a lovely day, happiest birthday. So I'm going to make this one a Mother's Day. So I have the Happy Mother's Day. I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight ink. And I do have, so this one was a 1/2 inch, and then this was whatever it is between 1/2 and 3/4. So 1/2, so 5/8 for the green. And then this one, I have 2 pieces here. Let's see if I can get them. So this one is 3/4 of an inch, and this one is 7/8 of an inch. So I wanted to have just kind of a little bit of a border. So let's do our happy birthday. And I just measured it because that's the size of the sentiment. So this is a kind of very narrow one. And this one has 2 lines to it. So it's a little bit bigger. Happy Mother's Day. I have a few Mother's Day cards to send, so I needed to make one. I made one the other day as well. And then I'm going to cut this. I usually use my punch that's no longer available, but I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to create a banner. I usually cheat and use my punch, but I wanted to do it this way. All right. And we'll do this. And then cut to the middle. And then cut from the point to where that cut is. Phew, it worked. And then I want to do the same thing for this. So I'm going to do one end and then I'll probably cut it down because I don't know how big we want it. So we'll just cut it. See, now that didn't work. I was patting myself on the back a little too quick. Okay, so let's see. So I want this to sit here with a little bit. So I'm going to cut this a little bit and then cut it. It's probably a better way of doing this, but this is how I do it. I knew I didn't get that point right. Okay. Good enough. So we'll just adhere this down. I didn't use dimensionals on anything on this card because I feel like it's pretty bulky, just as it is. So I'll put this together, and I think it just gives it a nice border, makes it pop off the card a little bit. And then this one we want to put down, but again, we don't want to put adhesive here. We only want to put it here. So let's figure out where it's going to sit. And then I'm going to put my fingers. This is my creative way of adhering without putting the adhesive in the wrong place. Works for me. I'm sure there's many other ways of doing it, but that's what works for me. So, all right, so here it is. And then let's do the back. And I do have a piece of this designer series paper, and this is 3/4 by 4. And actually, before I put it down, let's do have a lovely day, because I think that's really nice and sweet. I use that for this card as well. I'm sad that this is retiring because these are nice sentiments. I like the script on the Mother's Day, and I love the have a lovely day. I think that's really sweet. I have to figure out which mom I'm sending this to. My mom, my stepmother-in-law, my daughter. Got to make lots of them, right? Sometimes my kids send me a card that I made. They come shopping in my card stash, and then I'll get a card, and it's a card I made, so I think that's kind of fun. All right, and then we'll put this on the back. Let's see. Oh, we're going with it. Good enough. It's a little bumpy back there. And then on this one, I put these new holographic resin dies. They're really pretty. They are kind of holographic, but there's kind of a green color to them. So I put one on here and I put them over here, and I thought that was pretty. But for this one, I'm going to do the strawberry slush. And these are all new products available May 6th. So there's, I don't know if that's actually strawberry slush. That might be fresh freesia. Let's put the clear ones. Let's see. Well, maybe these are good. So I'm not going to put the dark ones. I'm going to put the middle of the road. So let's put one again right here. Although you could put them in the center of the flowers if you wanted. But I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other card. We'll put one here. And then a small one. And then a big one. And a small one. All right, so let's put this aside and clear the decks here. So happy Mother's Day. And again, it sits like this. Happiest birthday to you. And then the backs. Have a lovely day with just a little strip of that pretty paper. So I hope you enjoyed this. Give it a try. If you have any questions, you can leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. And this is on my calendar. We're at the last Friday of the month, April. So next week I have a few days and I'll be coming out with a new calendar starting, for next week. And you'll have to wait and see what kind of fun fold I make. I hope you have a great week and thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. Take care.